Patriots insider for NBC Sports Boston, Tom E. Curran, joining us on the program. How is morale in New England, Tom?
Sky flipping high, Dan.
Yeah.
I mean, through the flipping roof out here.
Because
Nobody anticipated this kind of start. I mean, I was on the cynical side. I said 8-8, but if you really put the pressure on me, I would have told you 7-9. And instead, what we're watching is, and this is the most interesting thing, is Cam Newton making players better, especially at the wide receiver position, than we thought that they were. He threw 32 times to wideouts the other day. N'Keal Harry, career highs in targets and catches. Edelman, career high in yards. And Damiere Byrd, a career high in targets.
Okay, but so Tom kept saying he didn't have weapons there. Cam is throwing to the same weapons that Tom had. So what's the difference?
Well, I mean, honestly, I think it's 11-on-11 football as opposed to 10-on-11. That threat to run that he brings to the table means the defense has to commit an extra guy. And how scary he was in the opener against Miami with the 75 yards really got into the heads of the defense and Ken Norton Jr. and how they were going to try and deal with Cam. And that opened stuff up, which we saw in the second half for guys down the field. And Newton hit the throws and guys made plays for him. So we'll see how long it proceeds that way. But he's now done one of each, gone off on the ground and gone off through the air.
And, that versatility is awesome, and it keeps the defense, off guard there a little bit. And Belichick has to love that. It gives him, a lot more toys or the possibilities to play with. But that was my question about the sustainability of this. I don't know is the offense going to change each week? As Belichick has done before, there are times when they were a running team, and then all of a sudden they become a passing team, and then back to a running game. So I don't know. What is the game plan?
I think that's the intention, and that's why they, like Seattle, are a program. They do the stuff that they do over such a long period of time, and are able to stay the course and switch. Now, Seattle doesn't switch as much as the Patriots do, but that's the Patriots' DNA. Whatever you're going to bring into our game, we're going to try and exploit or stay away from, depending upon how it works for us. So, with McDaniels, and that's the interesting thing, is they spend the first quarter oftentimes to quarter and a half just probing and trying to figure out, had they not been staked to that 7-0 lead the other night, I wonder how it would have looked. But, each week will be an interesting test as the league continues to gain info on them.
Explain this Belichick over the top with compliments with Cam. Calculated?
Yeah, I think so. I think he wants to make sure that Cam feels extremely welcome, that they want him here, that he wasn't a guy that they just picked as a last resort because they didn't feel like Jarrett Stidham could get things done, that he's exceeded what they thought he would do. And I think he also probably wants to tamp down expectations. Look, everybody up here, everybody who wasn't in Carolina had an image of Cam as maybe a little bit self-absorbed and narcissistic. And I don't know if selfish is the right word, but I think the main impetus for McDaniels or his teammates or Belichick have been to say, look, he doesn't care about anything except working hard, bringing energy, and winning football games. And I think that helps because, we're learning that as opposed to what we got as the Cam Newton brand, which was, a dynamic player who also had bizarre outfits that, oftentimes we would register impressions on. So I think Bill's trying to push back against what the perception is.
What about a long-term contract for Cam? How much does he have to produce? How many games? Are they going to stay with the $1 million bargain here?
What would you do if you were Cam? I mean, he had a $100 million contract he just came off of. But if you're 32 and the whole league just passed on you and the Patriots gave you $1 million contract, would you think you were indebted to the Patriots? I wonder about that. What would you, honestly, or do you want to just market your services?
Well, if I'm Cam, I think everybody wanted to, it was a look-see that they weren't sure because they couldn't work him out. They didn't know how healthy he was. Mm-hmm. And did I think there would be other teams that would show interest? Absolutely. I was surprised when Ron Rivera did not bring him to Washington. But, they wanted to give Haskins a chance, and I understand it. But if I'm Cam, I just bet on myself. But I just don't know the market for a quarterback who plays that way, who's going to be 32, 33 years of age. am I giving you a 3-year deal for $80 million? Like,
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
you got 4 years of since 2016, 17, 18, and 19. You have 4 years of evidence that show, well, it can be a little bit tender in terms of being injured. There is shoulder issues. There have been leg issues. Do we want to bet on this guy? Can we craft an offense around him if we're someplace else? And that to me that's why these two games, while so impressive, they don't really necessarily make anybody say, well, crap, we have to make sure that we're in line to get this guy to replace whoever is at our quarterback position. And isn't it interesting, Dan, how many teams actually have answers or plausible answers at the quarterback position in the NFL right now?
Well, also, where's Jarrett Stidham? Like, he's
inactive.
I know, but so that was supposed to be a competition, and I think we all said there is no competition here. But let's say Cam's a one-and-doneer in New England. Then are they still looking for a quarterback, or do they have their quarterback in Stidham?
I don't think that they saw nothing from Jarrett Stidham in this offseason that would make them nod in approval and say, we're all set.
Yeah.
I mean, he had an opportunity to compete. He got hurt, and then when he came off being injured, just kind of a slight injury, he didn't really perform very well in training camp. No preseason games, so he was SOL. But if I were the Patriots, I would start to shop for the engagement ring right now to try and present it to Cam at some point around Thanksgiving. Just at least start pricing the things out.
Do Patriot fans want Brady to succeed, do you think?
Seemingly, no. The vocal ones on social media, the ones who call into the radio shows, the ones that I'm encountering are taking a specific glee first in the performance the first week and then in diminishing what Brady did last week. And I don't get it. I mean, to a degree I do, because it was framed as if Brady abandoned the Patriots when the actuality is that they were all set with Tom a couple of years ago. But I think there's a glee that's being derived from, hey, look at our new friend. And with Brady, it's, yeah, well, I love the outfit, but who would wear those shoes? I mean, it's amazing to me.
And Belichick's okay with these post-game outfits that Cam wears.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it even registers. Now, here's one thing, Dan, and I'm sure we're close to the break, but so after the game the other night, they're in freaking Seattle. It took Cam probably an hour to pop up for his post-game press video conference with us. So I'm guessing they want to get to the airport. They have buses. They got one plane, maybe two. I don't know, probably two because of the COVID, but he's taken an hour to get his hat straightened and everything attired, and they're sitting in Seattle, and it's 1:00 Eastern, and I can't. I don't know. I don't know how that goes over.
Do you believe that Belichick has not been watching the Buccaneers?
Yes, I do. I think that he.
You don't think he's curious?
I don't.
Wow.
I don't. I really don't. I mean, I don't. I mean, I think he knows what's going on, but I don't think he's digesting and registering opinions. I really don't. I think everybody else might be.
I was also curious about Gronk. Like, I could see if Patriot fans had a problem with Gronk, but not Brady. Mm-hmm. And Gronk has been sort of MIA there. And maybe you only need him for a couple of games in the postseason, and that's really they got tight ends. But what do you make of Gronk's performance?
I think he's a little bit scared right now. And I don't blame him. The punishment that he took for the first 9 years of his career through 2018 was such that it left him kind of a mental mess. And he talked about it prior to the Super Bowl, 3 days before with me, and he talked about it after the Super Bowl. So now he's back in the pool, and he knows his body is going to get whacked, and he's going to throw himself. And he's already, Dan, made the decision to say, I want out. I don't want to do this anymore. And now, in theory, it was, okay, let's get back into it. Maybe it'll be fun down there with Tom. And now he's on the field, and he's looking at him. He's like, this kind of sucks. These guys are trying to kill me again. I thought I was out. Now I'm back in.
Yeah. It's.
You see that?
Yeah, I do. And I don't think he can quit on Tom this time. It just feels like he's gonna stay, and but I'm gonna grind it out.
I don't think it's physical. I hate to say, I think that's probably mental. It's been a mental challenge for him. There was a game on a Sunday night in 2015 in Denver in the snow when the Patriots were 10-0 and Gronk got hit in the knee by someone. Can't remember who it was. And he rolled around on the ground like he was going to have an amputation. Turned out it was a bruise. And that's not to make light of the punishment he took, but I think it's always in his mind that there's a devastating hit that's about to ruin him. And he's had so many surgeries and gone through so much pain. I don't blame him for having so much trepidation about it.
So after 2 games, Bills or the Patriots win the division?
Bills.
Okay.
No, I'm still, jury's still out for me with Cameron Newton.
Okay. It's great to talk to you.
That was a nice visit.
Yeah, it was. It was pleasant for a change.
Yeah. Thanks for being nice.
Yeah. Maybe bring some drama next time.
Say hi to the fellas.
I will. That's Tom E. Curran. He's a NBC Sports Boston insider. He's a Patriot insider.